Suppose you were given a chance to delete racial segregation, white supremacy, and slavery from the curriculum. Would you do so? That question might seem easy. Most of people would immediately scream yes at the top of their lungs. It might seem that avoiding teaching inconvenient parts of history will result in a world working well, with no social issues. However, it is not as simple as that. The mechanism of social awareness is based on the lessons we take from failures and mistakes of the past. In order to make the society more tolerant, we have to stop hiding inconvenient historical facts and instead make a long and heated debate about them to prevent those mistakes from recurrence. And were we to censor specific documents or change words in them in order to be politically correct, we would be left with no objective source of information from which we could learn about the abhorrent outcomes of racial segregation. And without a profound understanding, there is an increased likelihood of us going through the same process in a matter of years. While reading The Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, we might encounter several words that are considered to be racist. It might mislead us that the author may be racist too, and maybe the book itself is supposed to offend the people of color. However, the book shows the historical process of slavery in Congo, pointing out abhorrent acts of cruelty made by Europeans, and showing their disrespectful attitudes towards the natives. And should we change words, such as N-word, into more sensitive versions, for instance, natives, we will provide the reader with a distorted image of reality. In this case, the reader might think that Europeans weren't so cruel towards African Americans. After all, they were calling them natives, weren't they? The modern versions of The Heart of Darkness tend to have a really bad register. It means that the language used doesn't match the situation. And maybe we can tackle that problem not by censoring specific documents, but by issuing a disclaimer on the first page, explaining which possibly offensive words might appear and why are they necessary to this book. I do not imply by any way that we should start calling African Americans with words that were used to dehumanize people. However, I don't believe that such words should be totally banned. Every object is neutral, and so is each word. We can use it to offend specific groups of people, but we can also use it to educate the society, to show why the things that happened should never happen once again. Some organizations protecting minorities have become radicalized throughout the years. Initially, they were opting for freedom of speech and racial equality. Nowadays, they want to establish a law against hate speech, which is not a binary code and can be interpreted differently based on the person interpreting. That law, which has been designed to protect minorities, in fact, crosses a fine line between protection and censorship. Not only hate speech is a word that can have multiple definitions. Racism is too. Basically, everyone can define racism by their own. To some people, racism may be an excuse for every mistake and failure of the African Americans. But to some people, racism may be when a person does disagree with the second one, representing another ethnicity or skin color. In my opinion, racism is when a person is unable to see the beauty of second one because of the prejudiced mindset and stereotypes. According to this definition, The Heart of Darkness cannot be perceived as a racist book. In fact, I'd rather say it's an anti-racist book. But in order to analyze the significance of those words in the book, we have to read it in original version instead of being served with censored one.